This video is the first video in a series of resources created for the cyber scheme for people that want to get into cybersecurity. So if you aren't in cybersecurity at the moment but want to be, then this video series is for you. If you're already in cyber, then this video isn't aimed at you. However, if you want to create content for the cyber scheme, if you are a skilled professional already and want to share with the cyber community and give something back, then please use this video as a model for creating your videos and reach out to the cyber scheme via the cyber scheme website and get involved. So, as this is a model for creating other videos, let's just go over the framework that we'd like to use. So we're going to do a 5-minute introduction, who you are, what the video is about, and what can be learned from the video. Then a short starter activity, quiz, a game, something just to get people engaged. On topic is best, but doesn't have to be. Then go into your main topic and teach people some stuff, and then just do a 5-minute sum up. Explain how you can be reached if you want to be reached. Explain what you do in your day job and what you can offer if people reach out to you. You can show your company logo, etc. And obviously you're going to sum up what the video was about. So this video aims to achieve that everyone will be able to describe a basic buffer overflow from a very high level. We're not going to go into too much detail. Most will be able to differentiate between various password cracking techniques, and some will be able to suggest methods for stopping or preventing or at least slowing down these particular attacks. So this is my starter activity. You get an email sent to your inbox, and the attacker might have done some clever stuff with the code to make it look like it's legitimate. If you're confident enough, you might be able to hover your mouse over the hyperlink and see where the hacker's trying to send you. And sometimes you can even paste that into something like Notepad so you can get a copy of where the hacker was trying to send you. Anyway, this particular web address that you get sent, the little game is, would you know if it was malicious or not? So you've received this email into your inbox, and the question is, from that web address or URL, what parts of that web address do you know? So what's the domain name, what's the top level domain or the TLD, what's the subdomain, what's the path, what's the port, what's the parameter, and what's the protocol? If you have no idea, that's not a problem, but just make sure you're not clicking on links if you're not sure what these things are. So let's go through the answers quickly. So what's the domain name for this particular web address or URL that we were sent in an email and someone's trying to get us to click on? So the domain name is com secure server main system. All right, so it costs around about £6 to buy that domain. It can be up for half a day before the site that I bought it from take it down, and within half of a day you can send out many phishing emails and try and get people's credentials, therefore steal money from them. What's the TLD or top level domain? The one I paid for was a .ie. I chose that because it doesn't stick out so much in my web address when I'm trying to be malicious. What's the subdomain? So the subdomain can be anything. I chose Amazon to make it look like it was Amazon.com, but it's not. This is my malicious server. If you log into this particular site, I've got your username and password. Therefore, I can then go to real Amazon, log in as you, and buy big screen TVs and things. What's the path? Well, the path just means where's it stored on disk. So for this particular web address, it's in devices. What's the port number? So the port for this is 16549. Now, that's a strange port to be on. Normally, websites normally on port 80 or 443. And that doesn't show up normally. So for it to have a port number is a little bit strange. It's another alarm bell that you can look out for. What's the parameter? The parameter again can be set to anything. I set a parameter here with Yahoo in it just to try and get people to click it. So if you don't fall for the Amazon trick, you might fall for the Yahoo trick. And what's the protocol? So on this particular address, the protocol is a HTTP, so it's not secure. If you want a secure version, it would be another £50, 50 UK pounds. So you're looking at about £56 to buy the domain name with a secure protocol, so that people are more likely to click on it because you'll get the padlock and it looks secure. People get told not to go on sites that are not secure. So the protocol for this particular one was just the HTTP. So on to the main part of the lesson. I just want to show, as part of kind of cybersecurity, getting into cyber, my particular part of cyber is I like the technical side, the penetration testing, the ethical hacking. So I'm just going to show kind of what a hack might look like based on some software that hasn't been updated and therefore has a flaw or a missing patch. So this is a buffer overflow leading to remote code execution, which basically means you've got a login form with a username and a password, and the user fills that in, and usually the username allows up to 30 characters and the password allows up to 20 characters. But what happens if someone malicious puts in more than 30 characters? And what if the program doesn't validate how many characters the hacker typed in? Well, what happens is it tries to copy that username and password into the memory of the device, and you get an error. So what a malicious hacker can do is work out that possibly the things beyond 30 characters have been copied to memory, so you could put something malicious in there, like some shellcode. And if shellcode's added, you can just get it, you can write your own or get some from online, or you can generate some shellcode. You can possibly get a command prompt. Now the command prompt will run with the same user privileges as the program that you've managed to do the buffer overflow on. So if you're logged in as a user, then the command prompt will just be with user rights. But if you're logged in as an admin, possibly you've given away an admin command prompt. So one of the things that a hacker will do is trying to get hold of maybe usernames and passwords. Passwords aren't typically stored in plain text. We use a mathematical function called hashing to make it so you can't just see the password straight away. So we've got an administrator account here, and we've got all this kind of these characters and numbers. This is the hash. So this is the password, but it's in hash form. So a mathematical function's been used to create this, and that's how the password has been stored. Now there isn't a way of unhashing something. So how does the hacker then take it from some stolen hashes from your system into actually having your password? Well, there are many different types of attack. There's the dictionary attack, whereby a hacker will have a list of commonly used passwords, and often these lists come from previous breaches, and you can get these freely available on the internet. And what happens is you'll have a routine which goes through every word in the dictionary. It hashes the word, compares it against the hash that was stolen from your system, and if they match, we know what the password is. That's a dictionary brute force. A normal brute force is just where we take every character in every position and we try and work out what the password is. So no matter what the password is, a brute force will eventually crack it, but it could take a very long time. We could do a rainbow table attack, whereby we've done all the processing of converting a dictionary into these hashes already, which makes the cracking a lot quicker. However, it takes up a lot of disk space and a lot of resources. We could do a phishing attack, which is the starter we went with for this video, in that if we get a user to just type in their password, possibly we could steal it from them by getting them to click a link in either an email or in a text message or something like that. There are other social engineering techniques like phone calls, face-to-face meetings where you might disclose your password. There might be malware. So malware might come from a piece of software that you've downloaded to your machine from an unofficial source. That software is malicious, and when you type your password in to various other sites and things and put it in your clipboard, it then grabs a copy of that password and sends it to a malicious server somewhere. We could guess your password easier than you think sometimes. When we do audits of people's passwords, they quite often use things like football teams, people's names, pet names, things like that. Paper, you might write your password down, you might put it on a post-it note, in which case we could discover it, or any other techniques we use to get hold of your password. So I've got a little illustration of what the first two attacks look like. So with the dictionary attack, as I say, we have this list of words in a dictionary, and then that word is converted into a hash. We compare the hash with the hash we stole from your system, and if those two match, we know what your password is. As I say, you can't reverse a hash, but what you can do is, as long as your password is in my dictionary list, eventually by running through this list, and it's quite a quick process, we've slowed it down for the video, we can work out what your password is. So in the case of the video here, we're going through the words, and eventually we will get to a word where the hash matches. So in this case, password 1. The full brute force, what happens is every character of the alphabet, uppercase, lowercase, numbers, special characters, are put in every position until we've cracked your password. Now the defense against this is if you've got a long password and you're using uppercase, lowercase, special characters, then it's going to be very difficult to crack because it'll take such a long time. So the defense is the amount of time it would take to crack the password. So this is why we used to say 8 characters was enough for a password. Nowadays we say anything like up to 14 characters just to be safe. The dictionary attack, where we've got a dictionary of words, the defense against that is to make sure that your password doesn't appear in the dictionary. So the advice from the UK government is to use 3 words, because those 3 random words, as long as the dictionary doesn't have those words in that particular order, it's going to be quite difficult to get your password. Now, if you are new to cyber, common question is where do I start? What are the resources? So there are certain classic books that get recommended. There are lots and lots of websites and resources on the internet. I quite like podcasts because I drive a lot, and therefore I can listen to podcasts while I'm driving. I'm a big fan of creating my own home network of vulnerable machines. So I'll download vulnerable machines that people have written, make sure they're kept away from the internet, and then you can practice your skills of enumeration and scanning and hacking and stuff like that. One fantastic resource which I will mention is the CyberScheme website. So if you go to cyberscheme.org, some of our accreditations have a syllabus, and the syllabus will list what we call knowledge domains, which is the areas of self-study that you can work on and study, and you can drill down to all the different parts of what that knowledge domain consists of, so that you know where to study if you're particularly interested in the areas of cybersecurity that the CyberScheme have accreditation for. So have a look at that, and as I say, each area you can self-study or find videos on or books on and things like that. So if you have questions, please reach out to me via the CyberScheme website, and you can find me on LinkedIn. And if you are looking to get into cyber, please reach out to us. And if you are in cyber and you would like to share some of your knowledge by doing one of these videos, again, reach out via the CyberScheme website. So this video was about, we did a little starter on phishing. Basically, if you don't know if a link is malicious, just don't click on it. Then we looked at an example hack that could happen, whereby a missing patch or an error in some software allowed a hacker to get hold of the password hashes. We talked about this idea that passwords aren't stored in plain text, and we looked at some of the ideas of how they get cracked, and maybe some ideas around how to stop that, or certainly delay that hacking from happening. So this is the part of the video whereby if you wanted to, you could say who you were, how to reach out and what services you offer. You could show a logo. So I'm Paul Richards. I actually work for the Cyber Scheme, and so that's my logo there, the Cyber Scheme. Thank you for listening, and I'll speak to you soon.